Yo, 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 yo. Hey, listen, man, we back again. It's your boy Big Chase, Mancave101 Podcast, chilling with my brother like no other, Kalo K, the Mamma One of God, also known as Leo. What's up, bro?
¿Qué lo pasa? What's going on?
So we back again with another artist spotlight, talking to the hottest content creators in the universe. Tonight, we have someone very, very special, man. Listen, I keep telling you, you got to check out these artist spotlights. These are tomorrow's stars. We're giving it to you early. You can get in on the ground floor, say, hey, I was there when it all got started. You might get you some exclusives if you support the Kickstarter. I've got a couple of things back there. I'm pretty sure going to turn to $1 million in about 20 years and whatnot. Or sooner. We never know.
Yes, sir.
So, but don't forget, always tune in with us Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you get your social media or streaming media on, that's where you'll find us, Mancave101 Podcast. So, without further ado, we're going to bring back our special guest tonight, Karla Medrano.
Medrano.
I got a drink. Remind me. Keep notes. Karla Medrano, Konkret Comics. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Yes. So, listen, as we talked earlier, Konkret Comics is family. Shout out to Lonzo Star, by the way. You know what I'm saying? My brother. You are the last but not least of a long line of outstanding comic series, comic book titles and whatnot. So let's start from the beginning, though. So how did you get into this industry?
So I picked up my first comic book after I saw T'Challa.
Okay.
On the big screen. That's when I picked up my first comic book. So I'm brand new. I'm a newbie.
Okay.
And it's just something about that performance that just inspired me. Unlike the other superhero, we've had so many superhero films since the earliest one I can remember was, back in 99 or 2000 with like the first X-Men movie. We had Batman, Michael Keaton's version. I mean, I loved all of that. Everything that has come, I've loved it. I've just consumed it. But Chadwick Boseman was the one that inspired me to pick up the comic book because I was like, wait a minute now, what?
You picked a good start, boy. You picked a good start.
That's the one to get inspired by.
I didn't know we were like that. So that's how I got into the comic book. So, and at the time I had just started writing again.
Okay.
So I decided to eventually turn my story into an actual comic book, which is how Luna came about.
Okay. And so speaking of Luna, since we're on the subject, tell us about Luna. What's the backstory? What's going on in there?
So Luna, the quick and easy one is that a queen, discovers she has power, is the only one that can save her world from an evil threat.
Okay.
But let me just give you a little bit of background. So it's a futuristic story. It takes place in the year 10,000 on the other side of the universe. Our heroes of old Earth are not here anymore. But the universe has still birthed a new generation of superheroes, and I call them energy keepers. Okay. So some energy keepers have chosen to kind of heed the call to maintain the balance and order of the universe, while others have not. So you'll see that, play out in the story. So this particular story is focused on Luna. She's the queen of a planet called Mahru, and millions of descendants of humans are united under one moon. And but one day she receives a visit from a stranger who tells her, trouble is coming. Mm-hmm. And that's when she begins to realize that, where she fits into all of this. And she eventually realizes that she has powers, and she's the only one that can save her world from this coming threat.
Okay. Okay.
I'm loving the backstory. I'm loving it. Okay.
I love it so far. So who's the bad guy? Is there a antagonist, or is it just, you know?
So there are a few antagonists, but there's one villain.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna leave it like that.
Okay.
You gotta read it.
Yes, I like it.
There's several antagonists though. You know, and especially in these earlier issues.
Right.
But eventually, and I give that away in issue 1, like at the bonus scene, you see who the actual villain is. So the story, what makes the story really interesting is that you don't really know quite how the antagonists fit into that villain.
Right.
But there are some obstacles along the way, you know, for Luna. So these earlier issues, you'll see that play out with these antagonists.
Okay. As you should. So, because you started, you really just started, and we were actually just speaking to another guest about how this process back in the day was like impossible. I started picking up my comic books back in the 80s. And, you know, I come from an art background. Putting together a comic book was impossible for us at that time. And now there's so many other options. So as a newbie, like, how has the process of going from concept to physical book been for you?
It's been, well, the challenge I'm having obviously is money. But I actually, Fiverr, I mean, I found my artist on Fiverr. You know, and within like 2 or 3 artists, I found him, and I've been working with him ever since. He already knew how to, you know, draw, layout. He already knew everything about comic books. Like he knew about panels and pages, and he knew about, you know, which panel should go on this page, which one should go on this one. When you turn the page, you should see this. Like he came with a lot. He comes with a lot of knowledge. So I've been very spoiled, and so I can't really say that I've had any. I can't say I have any issues. And then Lonzo came around. Like I was that pin up of Luna in the pink, where, you know, her hair is flowing around. That's the one they saw on Instagram. And Anaji, you know, the creator of Kandaki Medina.
You know Anaji Roos. It's my guy.
Yes. He got in touch with me, and then they invited me to become a part of the Konkret family. So I've been very spoiled. Like the biggest challenge is money, you know, paying and trying to, you know, paying the artist and stuff like that. But I think for me also another challenge is, because I am so new to the comic book culture, making sure that I understand some elements, you know, of what makes a comic book a comic book.
Right.
And I've realized that some people, I feel like I do have I'm not the typical, I'm not the Odina, I'm not the Kandaki, I'm not the Acolyte. Like I'm not, Luna is not that action in your face, you know, thing. But people still have received it well. So the people that I have surrounded myself, you know, with, they are helping me along this way to tell my own story in my own way, but also making sure that I understand a few things, you know, along the way. So this process has been, you know, challenging, ups and downs, but I have to say I've been blessed and I've been spoiled. So I can't say I haven't, you know, I just been blessed. I don't, you know.
I have a question for you. How did you feel as a writer seeing Luna for the first time in full color?
So I cried. So when
that's normal. That is normal. Yeah. Seeing your words to paper and seeing somebody bring it to life, it's a big thing.
So I cried when I got the first pinup. And the first pinup was of Kira. That's the character with the purple hair in the book. And that was the first one he sent me. And I don't know why that was the first one he sent me. I think it was just easier to kind of put her to, you know, work for my references and stuff. But when I saw her, I cried. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening. Like, this is actually, you know, this is bringing my words to life. And then when I saw Luna, this pinup, this is actually one of the covers. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a match made in heaven. This is a match made in heaven. So,
yes, that's the one thing that I was like, I had to ask you, because when you mentioned, okay, I'm a newer artist, but you've been writing for a long time, but you brought it back up. I know that must have been emotional for you once you saw your words, just saying, "Wow, I did it! it's there,"
yeah.
And I will be forever stamped in time, because this is me.
Yeah. I have, like I said, I didn't do it alone. I have some really incredible people in my life that have allowed me to create in a safe space, and they're not judgmental. They're true storytellers. They understand that stories come in all forms, and this is just another way to tell a story through this medium that we have. So I was really it was very emotional. And it's still emotional. It's still emotional. It's still emotional, because I'm getting a lot of love. I'm getting constructive criticism as well, because I still have so much to learn, but I'm getting a lot of love from people, and that in itself is a blessing, because a lot of creatives don't see that as much for whatever reason.
Right.
But this community, I found that, they've welcomed me with open arms. So
yeah, this community. A lot of the artists that we've had on our spotlights always say that they're the most welcoming community. You'll find in every community, you'll find a couple of naysayers and haters, but for the most part, when you ask somebody a question, they will give you a true, honest answer.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I love about this community, is that you'll get an honest answer. Even if you don't want to hear it, take it as constructive criticism. But you can still have the light and see, okay, this is what I'm stepping into. This is what I'm doing, and I'm loving what I'm doing. And like you said, you're learning. So it's like your story. I can't wait to start reading it. I haven't, truthfully be told, I haven't started reading it. I've been reading everything freaking else with Konkret Comics. Konkret, I'm telling you, you guys are killing the game, because your storylines and everybody there is killing it. Now I have another one I have to start reading and spend more money on. But thank you.
I could have sent you I didn't know you didn't have the link already, but I could just send you the link.
Now, I support. One thing I do is support.
Yeah,
I come out of my pocket for my addiction, and my addiction is comic books. As you can see behind me, I have a problem. So,
for issue 2, I'm gonna send y'all the link so I can be on and promote the Kickstarter.
Yes,
so we'll do that.
Okay,
please, definitely, because we definitely want to promote it.
So speaking of the Kickstarter, tell us about the Kickstarter. What's going on with it?
So we finished it. We launched it back maybe I think it was mid-November. We finished it up around mid-December. It was a lot of hard work. It was a lot. It was a lot of marketing, a lot of reaching out to people. But we ended up having close to 190 backers. We raised almost $4,500. And we were fully funded within a few hours. So
wow,
it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. Yeah.
And you just got here? Yeah, people have been doing this for 10 years. I was like, okay, I didn't get fully funded. She got fully funded in a few hours. Okay, all right.
That's a testament to the book, a testament to the art, and a testament to the writing.
Yeah.
The art. Thank you so much for saying that, for the writing. But I'm gonna tell you, when I looked back at the analytics after the Kickstarter was over, I would say 50% of my backers came from people who just discovered the page. So, we were recommended as a project we love. But when I saw the links and where people were coming from, it was from people who searched comic books or graphic novels, and they saw this page. So that speaks to the ability of your artwork alone, drawing in people and seeing if this is something that they, really want to get behind. And then of course, once they come to the page, you got to have it laid out. So Lonzo
Exactly.
took me through, how to lay out the page. I also am a part of another mentoring group that helps me as well. So, you got to have the artwork. You got to have a page that people actually want to get behind. You got to have, interesting tiers. So it's a combination of things. And then we have the email list. The Konkret has,
Right.
hundreds of people on the email list. That helps as well.
Right.
And then being on social media, like I'm in people's face almost every day. Like, okay, let me tell you about another character. So
promotion is the key to everything.
Marketing, yeah, and it's industry. But this is one of the reasons why we do this artist spotlight. Also, is because a lot of people are not aware that these books are out there. Listen, we love Marvel, we love DC and all of those, but we know that there are also a lot of Black and brown owned independents out there with great stories and great characters, and people aren't always aware. There are people that aren't aware that you can get an artist to commission, that you can go into a Kickstarter and pick a tier and end up yourself in the comic book. It's possible. So this is one of the reasons that we do this artist spotlight, so people can find something that they didn't even know existed and whatnot, something that they will love. Me personally, stuff like this for me is a personal love because it's been missing. And as I said, I come from a time where the ability to put a comic book together from start to finish was like impossible. And so for someone like yourself to just see the Black Panther movie and decide you want to do a comic book and then get it out, get it printed, get it made. Like, listen, yes. I can't do nothing but applaud that, man.
That hustle is strong right there, bro.
That's great, man. That is absolutely.
Oh, I got a question for you. You've been dropping gems for new people that haven't been listening or better be listening. You've been dropping a lot of gems of what to do and how to do it. But I want you to give me, if you can, any piece of advice for any new artist, writer, developer that you think will be key for them to know before getting into comics.
Mindset.
Whoa.
You have to have
yes.
Yeah, you have, because all of us, myself included, sometimes we create these false narratives in our head. Like, one of my biggest things is imposter syndrome. Another thing I go through is I'm too old, I'm too busy, I don't have any money, and these are all false narratives because in a sense, those things might be true. But you have to reframe that and make it work for you. So like, when I talk about imposter syndrome, yes, I am new, but I still can create a story that, some people will love, and I may be, older than some of these others, putting out comic books, but my life experience is what makes Luna Luna.
Right.
So the biggest piece of advice is you have to work on your mindset. Like if you don't have the right mindset, and then when you see yourself going into this negative thinking, you have to reframe that because mindset is everything. That's why you have these artists out here, who are killing it, not necessarily because they're the most talented in the world, but because they believe in themselves and they project that energy. And that energy is what the universe responds to. And that is what's going to, take you to those new heights. So that's my biggest piece of advice is working on your mindset and making sure it's working for you.
Okay. So I have a question. So we talked about you saw Black Panther. Before that, were you into comics? Were you into Marvel and DC at all?
Not the comic books. Not the comic books. I always thought, oh, comic books are for nerds, even though I'm a nerd. I'm like, comic books are for nerds, but I'm a nerd. Like I'm a book nerd, so I don't know what I was doing. But then once I was like, well, let me see. I want to learn more about Wakanda. And that's how I got started. And then I discovered all these like different storylines. One of my favorite ones is the one
That's what I was about to ask you.
the one with the Nettie Core for.
Okay.
And I don't know why they didn't kind of tap into that with the movies, but whatever.
Yeah, that run is a little bit deep.
It is. We need deep though.
Yes,
See,
we do.
We need it. We need it now. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy. Look how deep that was. And we were like, oh my gosh,
Exactly.
It was so many themes that it was portraying. So that's another story. But then I started discovering these indie artists. Like Konkret Comics was my first set of books, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. Just like you were saying before, Chase, like you don't know this stuff exists until you start looking for it. And then once you do, it's like you can't put it down. And now I prefer indie comics over DC and Marvel because sometimes they be taking you down worlds that you like, what is this?
They don't finish off stories right. Sometimes the storyline doesn't hit right. Marvel's been having a lot of issues with that. A lot.
Yeah. And I love the indie comic. Like, I need to put this together, like a list of comics I recommend. But like, I have a whole stack, and I'm about to do another comic. I'm gonna do another comic convention in June. So I'm gonna be coming home with a bunch of books then. Okay. But I actually prefer indie comics over the DC and Marvel, just because those characters I can relate more to those characters. Not necessarily because they're Black, but because it's written by one person usually,
right?
That has taken care to make sure that this storyline from start to finish makes sense, serves a purpose, and it's not just to put out another issue, which is sometimes what I feel
happens.
And they don't want nobody to play with their characters.
Yeah.
They won't let certain people. They won't let nobody touch their characters, and that's the authenticity of it that I love.
Yeah,
is that this is my character. This is my baby.
Yeah,
you ain't about to put 16 writers on my baby. No.
That's true. Yes.
It's not gonna happen. And this is the storyline that I want to do. That's why I love the independents right now, because they have something like Chase said. I grew up in the 80s and 70s myself, and we've never the most of I've seen is Black Panther and Brother Voodoo, and in comic books that would look like us,
right?
But a lot of kids didn't know that. Okay, Stan Lee came up with this character because of the of the movement,
right?
They don't know the backstory of it, and it brings out it. I was an early Black Panther fan because of it, because of all the stuff that was going on. But it just brings me better storytelling. That's what the one I love is the storytelling of it.
Yeah, and I know for me, I love the ability to put our story in these comics and connect it to fantasy, because it just opens up the minds of people that read it. Because we don't have to, like with Marvel and DC, they take from real life, but they have to kind of search. They have to kind of sit down and how we're going to do this. So much of our story has never been told. So when we take it, we don't really have to do as much in terms of research. We just need to decide who's going to be the people on stage that are going to present this to the world and whatnot. Combine that with the art and our own style and things like that, and forget it. It's out of here. So for me, I just love the expression.
And Black and brown people can do damn sci-fi, please.
Yeah, we can do everything. Right?
We can do everything. Come on, man. Let us in. We keep knocking it out the park every time. So come on, man.
Exactly.
Yes.
So tell the people where they can find and pick up Luna, the Queen of the Mahru.
Yeah, so of course, right on the website, Konkret Comics. You can pick it up there. And Lonzo has set up each issue where you can read the first scene before you buy. So you can get it there. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Moon the Storyteller. And you can, links in the bio, you can buy it through there as well.
Okay, all the information will be in the description as usual, so that you can reach out to Miss Karla and check out her Luna and whatnot. Luna, listen, we tell all of our guests you are now officially family, as well as the rest of the Konkret Comics family. You can stop by anytime. Any updates going on, let us know what's going on out there with you.
Thank you.
And, other than that, man, we just want to thank you once again for coming by. We really appreciate it. We really enjoyed this time. Keep up the good work. And I can't believe you just started, man. Like, we have to talk about this, bro. Like, she just started.
When you have good product, brother,
bro,
nothing can get in its way, man.
Ya tú sabes.
Yeah, that's what you'll say.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. It was an honor for me to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, you honor us, love.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So one more thing that I wanted to ask you. Is Luna's the first? Is this the only title that you're going to do? Or are you planning to do more titles?
I would love to do a spinoff, not a spinoff, but like I'm talking about TV. I would love to do another series, probably not as long though, based on one of the characters, Zoe, in the book. He's one of the antagonists, and then the children. There will be children in this story, so they will have their own series as well. But Luna has a story to tell, so I'll be, working on that, for the next few years.
Okay, how many pages? Also, one other question: how many pages is Luna?
This one is, I want to say 28, and then 29 with the bonus scene.
Ooh.
So, but the future ones are going to be probably a little bit longer, just because I have so much to tell. Yeah. And my editor is like, we can't squeeze this information. Like, we have to and the artist even is very honest. Like, no, this can't be one panel. This has to be a page, Right. So right. I have a team that's working with me to help me plan out, So I can tell
the more writing you do, the more books you get.
Yeah. And
that's the best part about it.
That you got professionals working with you.
Yes.
Okay. Karla, we're going to let you go. Thanks again for stopping by Mancave101 Podcast. Man, make sure that you stop by Konkret Comics. That's Konkret with a K, no E on the end. Shout out to my boy Lonzo Star. Karla, thank you once again.
Thank you. Gracias.
Kalo K in the building. Big Chase, Mancave101 Podcast. We see you next time. Peace.